Welcome back, friends. Remember those old school cold remedies your grandma said worked when you came down with a flu or a cold? Well, have you ever sat back and thought, do they really work? Well, joining us now, our doc on call, Dr. Ryan Stanton. He's going to debunk some popular myths when it comes to getting rid of a fever. Doc, good to see you.
Good seeing you, sir.
So we're going to do some myth busting, huh?
Absolutely. We're going to do it right here. So pay attention, set that DVR. We've got some information for you.
Okay, very, very cool. Well, I guess we start with that old school just stripping down and jumping in the cold bath, right?
Yeah, so the initial one, yeah, we all hear about that. We hear it all the time. This is a no here. A cold bath is never the answer. Even in instances of hyperthermia from being in the heat, we don't want cold. There's two reasons for this, that this is not terribly helpful. One, unless we're talking so cold that we're going to overwhelm the heating system and cause hypothermia, the body will maintain the temperature it wants despite the bathtub. It's why you don't get hypothermic or get a fever when you're taking a shower. In fact, hypothermia can be more dangerous, inhibiting the immune system and increasing other complications. It also induces shivering, which is actually the body's most effective method for building heat, so you can actually worsen that fever with this one.
Oh boy. All right. Well, let's field this one now. I've heard this through the years. Rubbing down with alcohol. Rubbing down the skin with alcohol. I don't know about that one.
Well, that one's an absolutely not. People believe this works because the rapid evaporation makes your skin feel cool, but there are a couple of problems with this. Again, it'll induce shivering, can actually increase the temperature. But the bigger issue, the skin is not a one-way street. The skin can absorb chemicals and toxin. We've actually seen reports of deaths associated with prolonged exposure to large amounts of alcohol, especially in kids, in the skin. So this is a definite no-no. Keep the alcohol for cleaning surfaces and for the nightcap.
Okay, variation on a theme here, Ben. What about stripping them down and not allowing them to, quote-unquote, feel warm?
So this is actually one that's even propagated still within healthcare. If you walk around in winter clothes, so just imagine here, do you get a fever? You don't. Well, not unless it's summer outside and you've got your winter clothes on walking around in the sun, but it's the same idea. The body has a great ability to control temperature, and making your kids suffer by being cold is not only mean, but also does very little. In fact, another method to induce shivering, which can further build that heat. So let your child be comfortable when they're sick. Let them cover up, wrap up in whatever clothes they want. Same with adults as well. We don't want to fuel those stress hormones, and we want them to get some good rest, so allow them to be comfortable.
Okay, so doing some myth busting here.
Knocking some things out.
Don't take
Don't
take my chicken soup away from me, though.
No, that actually has some benefit to it.
All right.
There's some proof that is beneficial in boosting the immune system and improving your recovery from a cold.
Yes.
Sidebar.
All right, good to know. Okay, well, let's review some facts then on this one.
All right, so the best facts. What do we want to know in terms of your temperatures? Fevers themselves aren't dangerous. Fevers do not cause brain damage, and that's a huge myth that we hear. In fact, the only fever that will harm your child is prolonged exposure to heat, like being left in a car, and fevers are a very important part of the body's ability to fight the illness. Infections can be dangerous, but it has nothing to do with the degree of the temperature itself. If your child gets a febrile illness, consider the other symptoms and check with your doctor on the potential seriousness of the overall infection. Get checked in the emergency department if you have concerns, but a fever itself is fine and actually healthy. And with that, treat the child, not the number. Again, other symptoms and source are more important than just the number by itself. And finally, let it ride. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that you not treat a fever routinely in a child. Treat the child. If your child is 104 and bouncing around playing, don't worry about it. Let it go. If they're 99 and look like they feel bad, treat it. It's the child, not the temperature.
Okay. You mentioned febrile. What about the seizures? Few seconds
That's a huge concern. There's a huge febrile concern. Febrile seizures are a natural part. A small percentage of kids will get that within the first 24 hours of a fever. Febrile seizure alone is not dangerous. Again, the key is to prevent them from hurting themselves. If it looks scary, it definitely looks scary to everybody around them. As long as they don't do damage, it's okay. In fact, research shows that treating the fever doesn't even change the risk of having the seizure, so there isn't actually anything else you can do about it. If your child has one, keep them safe, keep them from being injured, get them checked out, and make sure that they stay as safe as possible, and making sure that it's not something else that may be going on, such as an actual seizure from an epileptic disorder that we haven't diagnosed yet.
Okay. Good common sense doctor, and as always, we can count on it.
Appreciate it, sir.
Dr. Stanton, good to see you. Back in just a second, folks. Stick around.